Media mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Everyone's good? Okay, one more. You know, I give it to Primo voice. You know, she's like, wow, you know that.
Yeah. The truck. Zoom them. everybody set? Yeah, let me check. Test. Great. Are all cameras set? All right, you guys good to go? All right, Alexis, you can bring her up. Wait, I'll signal.
And now, we bring you the following live press announcement. Our regularly scheduled program will resume following the announcement.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Right here?
Yep.
Yeah. How's everybody? Hey, Chief. Well, how are you? Great.
And now, we bring you the following live press announcement. Our regularly scheduled program will resume following the announcement.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Muriel Bowser. I am here today with members of PEPCO, our electric company here in Washington, D.C. I'm also joined by members of my public safety and DDOT teams, and we are here to provide an update on PEPCO's and DDOT's ongoing efforts to respond to Saturday's storm. So we know that this was a dangerous storm with very high winds that came on quickly and caused significant damage in a very short period of time. The impacts have been devastating to a number of neighborhoods in Washington, D.C. and in our region. So I want to start by thanking all of our first responders and crews. Give them a big round of applause. They have been out working since Saturday evening, as well as our call takers at 911 and 311. Give them a big round of applause, who have been responding to D.C. residents and submitting requests for cleanup, and also letting us know to check on neighbors. I mentioned that we are joined by Valencia McClure, who is right behind me, who is the Vice President of Governmental and External Affairs at PEPCO and PEPCO Region President. And Valencia will share updates on PEPCO's work in our neighborhoods. Last night, MPD released a list of road closures, and we continue to update that list with roads that have been cleared. And where there are many downed trees, DDOT is working tirelessly with our crews and our contract crews to clear those trees, to allow roads to open, and to allow our PEPCO crews to do their work. And so while property owners are generally responsible for trees on their private property, DDOT is supporting cases where there is an immediate threat to the public. So in those cases, property owners should contact 311 for a DDOT crew to come out to inspect. We want to remind our residents to continue exercising caution as cleanup continues. You should report downed power lines to 311 and always treat a downed power line as if it were live. Stay away from them. Do not step on them. Do not drive over them, and do not move them. If a traffic light, of course, is flashing red, and I'm told that I think we only have 2 that remain out, treat it like a stop sign. And if you are clearing debris from your DPW service property, you can move that debris to the tree box, and DPW will be out in the coming days to help remove that debris. Please avoid moving branches or limbs into the path of a sidewalk or into the roadway itself. And finally, continue to check on seniors and other neighbors who have lost power. And if you are without power and need to get to a cooling center, please call 311 for transportation to a cooling center. And I know I probably don't have to remind neighbors, but I will. If you are experiencing property damage related to this storm, please contact your insurance company right away so that they can advise you on how to protect your property until permanent repairs are made. So with that, I want to turn to Valencia McClure to hear the PEPCO update.
Thank you so very much, Madam Bowser. I am Valencia McClure, the president of PEPCO Region. Good afternoon to everyone that's out here today. As Mayor Bowser mentioned, we saw over the weekend excessive damage in regards to winds. It was actually clocked that we had 84 mile per hour winds that came through the district and the region on Saturday afternoon that toppled trees and brought down tree limbs that have downed power lines and damaged electric equipment. Overall, the storm interrupted electric service for approximately 70,000 of PEPCO's customers throughout our region, including about 14,000 customers here within the district. We recognize the damage from these storms have impacted our customers well beyond the loss of electric service and appreciate everyone's patience and understanding as we continue working safely to restore service as quickly as possible. As of today, we have restored service for nearly 90% of all impacted customers throughout our region, and we have all hands on deck to restore service for the remaining customers within the district and in Maryland. As of this afternoon, we have roughly about 4,000 customers throughout our region that are still without power, and that's including customers that experienced an outage as a result of the storm, and then we also have what's called the aftermath. So as we know, over the past couple of days, actually as of Saturday and yesterday, as the tree limbs continue to fall, then that causes additional outages that we're also seeing throughout our region as well. So currently in the district, we have a little over 800 customers that are without service due to the storm on Saturday, and then an additional 1,000 customers that are experiencing outages, the aftermath outages that we're seeing that upticks the numbers to some degree. Due to the storm on Saturday, after we saw the extensive damage, we immediately started calling in our mutual assistance crew. So currently, we have over 1,300 line workers, contractors, and support personnel throughout our region, which includes more than 700 mutual assistance personnel from 10 different states, including Alabama, Kentucky, Michigan, Mississippi, North Carolina, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, and Tennessee. As of this morning, we also have additional crews that have come in from our sister utilities from Delmarva and also Pico. Crews have completed repairs to transmission lines serving thousands of customers and substation equipment that affects widespread areas and are now making a major push to address main distribution lines serving large numbers of customers and secondary lines serving neighborhoods. As you can see, even from the scene behind us and as we walk down 44th Street, the significant amount that is needed to address many of the remaining outages. We are thankful for the partnership with the Mayor's Office, our local emergency management partners, and local leaders across the district and Maryland who are supporting our efforts and helping keep residents and community members safe, which is our first priority. We expect to have service restored for all customers impacted by the storm by 3 p.m. tomorrow, though many of the customers will be restored throughout today. Tomorrow, what we anticipate seeing is when we start getting into the single outages, which obviously takes more time due to the significant damage. Again, thank you for your continued understanding and patience as we continue to restore our customers quickly and safely as possible. Thank you.
And Director Rodriguez, if you could just speak to HCMA support.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Ms. McClure. I want to talk a little bit about the system that we experienced on Saturday night, and really that really generated from a lot of the extreme heat that we saw on Thursday and on Friday. And the Emergency Management Agency has been, for the last week, really looking at how to manage the extreme heat, how we support our most at-risk residents, how we keep government operations going. And I want to thank DGS, Parks and Recreation, DCPS, and all of our response agencies for making sure that we could continue with camps and with summer school today as well. What we saw on Saturday night was something that we really hadn't seen since the derecho in 2012. And it was a combination of the extreme heat, a cold front that was approaching us from the west, and extreme humidity in the air, which caused what are called downbursts. What happens is a lot of wind and a lot of rain hit the ground very fast and very quickly. As of 2 p.m. on Saturday, the radar was showing absolutely no systems in the area. It really generated itself very quickly, and I want to thank National Weather Service for making sure that we had the alerts and we had those notifications from them as well. Yesterday, in an effort, of course, to support PEPCO, the Department of Transportation, Department of Public Works in the recovery phase, the mayor directed us to initiate the Emergency Operations Center. So we brought in all those agencies into one place. They worked overnight to make sure that they had the proper resources that they needed, the priorities for debris removal and power restoration. And I want to thank those agencies who continue to work 24/7 to make sure that we get power back up, that we clear the roads, and then we get back to normal. So again, I want to just echo what the mayor said. Make sure you're contacting your insurance company if you have debris on your personal property. Make sure you're reporting down trees and power lines to 311, and make sure that you're staying safe out there. Our crews are going to be working until all of our essential services are restored. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, questions, press questions, press questions. Yes, ma'am.
Wait, hold. Oh, thank you so much. So from my understanding, some residents weren't aware that a severe thunderstorm was happening on Saturday. I was wondering if you and officials have discussed doing anything differently in terms of the alert process for future thunderstorms in case something like this happens, to better prepare folks?
Well, certainly we work with the National Weather Service, and I got a lot of alerts, and I know people received alerts if they were watching TV, if they have a cell phone, about the severe weather coming through. So those are the best ways that we can get information out as soon as possible. Yes.
This might be a question for PEPCO, just as we get into sort of some of these granular areas. Can you talk about the logistical challenges of neighborhoods with this many trees kind of near the lines that they're trying to replace? Just what are some of the challenges that you have to overcome to get everybody back online?
Sure.
So as you can see, and we're experiencing that even on this street, so we work closely, obviously, with the mayor's office, with DDOT, to ensure that our pathways are clear, but this is where it starts taking just a little bit of a longer time on our restoration, because we do have to make sure that the area is safe where we're moving into. We have cleared the streets. Once the Pepco crews have done their work, then we work with DDOT, and then DDOT comes in and actually clears the trees. But this is when we start getting into the singular outages. What we're seeing on this street, on 44th Street, is the teams actually have been here since 10 p.m. last night. So just to kind of give a magnitude of the length of time some of these outages take. They have been here since 10 p.m. last night. They will probably continue to be here for another couple of hours. Once they have done the work that they are currently doing right now, we'll probably have an additional 200 to 300 customers that are back online at that time. Thank you.
Follow up with Pepco. Well, I'm sorry, man, while you're still up there. I think you told us 800 and another 1,000, about 1,800 in DC who are still experiencing power outages, customers. Is that all clustered here in this area, or is it throughout the district? Are there other clusters east of the river and other neighborhoods?
It's throughout the district, but the majority is actually in the northwest area. So what we're seeing in Palisades, also Foxhall and American University Park, but we do still have outages throughout the district. But this is where the majority of outages are.
My follow-up for you and for the district government is this is a robust response that we're seeing up here.
Yes.
I'm wondering if we travel to these other neighborhoods, will we see the same robust response in every neighborhood that's experiencing this?
Yes, you will. We were actually, even as of late last night, we were in Southwest area repairing outages. So our crews, as I mentioned, we have over 1,300 individuals that are here working throughout the district and also throughout the region. So our whole focus all the time is to ensure that we are restoring service to every customer within the district as quickly and safely as we can.
Thank you. I have an additional question.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask about trees on federal land, like, for instance, Sheridan Circle, where a huge tree is down from the circle, which I believe is federal land, onto Massachusetts Avenue, blocking that. Whose responsibility is that, and are you coordinating with the feds in instances like this? Are they as responsive as the district is to getting their trees up?
Well, if it's blocking the roadway, Mark, we'll be responding to it, and we'll make those coordinations with MPS or whoever is responsible for it. But certainly if it's blocking the roadway or the sidewalk for that matter, we'll be responsive. And generally, they are out on their properties as well, making sure that they're helping to remove trees.
Can we move
yes, sir.
Is there an estimate for the number of people who might have been injured due to the storm?
What's that one?
So throughout this event, we were fortunate that no one was killed by the storm. I mean, we certainly had a lot of damage and a lot of debris down. Right now, we've had 2 people who were injured, but appear to be recovering.
And we've seen, I'll just say, a number of us were out earlier on the street where Pepco and Verizon and DDOT crews are working, which appears to me from just kind of our look to be like the center of where these winds did the most damage. And we saw some pretty significant damage to a couple of houses and vehicles. We were able to talk to some residents who were in their homes during the storm and were pretty terrified by it. So the wind, sometimes when we hear numbers, we can't appreciate it. Like, I don't really know what it means to be 85 miles per hour. But it takes down some pretty significant trees, and some of them fell on people's homes while they were in. So I appreciate the question about whether we're in all 8 wards, and the answer is yes, but let me be perfectly clear that this is where the damage is, especially where the huge amounts of damage is. And it's also true, and I think you heard from President McClure's remarks, that Pepco works on a protocol, and that protocol, generally speaking, is to work on the lines and the streets that get the most people up the fastest, and focuses on more vulnerable populations or public places that serve our residents. So I want to just thank them for making sure the resources necessary to finish the job are on the ground. Yep.
quantify how many of the people in D.C. government are on the ground right now still?
What do you mean?
Can you quantify like the crews that are out there helping, assisting when it comes to DDOT and all that?
I don't know if I have the exact number, but I'll get that back to you. Yes.
What do you say to folks who complain that the recovery is taking too long?
I actually have talked to a lot of people, and I haven't heard that once today. And what people are saying is that they appreciate who really experienced the winds, that no one was hurt, and that they appreciate the crews working safely and efficiently to get back up. I even heard that people were pleased with the communication about what's going on. So I would like to encourage PEPCO to keep up that work of keeping people up to date so they know how to make plans. And we will do our level best in DC government to keep that communication ongoing as well. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I mean, all things considered, with the damage that we're seeing, only 2 people being hurt in the district. I mean, this could have been much worse. What can you say about just how good of an outcome this was?
I think you are exactly right. It could have been much worse, because when I look at some of these trees, and on the streets that we were on, we saw some trees even bigger, and you know, I'm not a tree expert, but they're really old. Some of these trees are really old, and to have that kind of wind come down, and you know, the randomness of it hit this house but not this house, or this car and not that car, just shows you how random these weather events are. But Chris alluded to it. We had extreme heat last week, and we know as a government we have to be prepared, and even more prepared for extreme weather and the effects of extreme weather. And this may be one such effect. Hopefully it doesn't mean that it's more frequent. We've actually we've done pretty good with storms lately, so we hope that continues.
We have a community question.
Yes, community, yes.
Hi, thank you. I'm over in Palisades, and this also might be a question for PEPCO.
Sure.
The people whose trees have fallen on their homes have hit power lines but are not obstructing the street. They have private contractors lined up to remove the trees, but they are being told they can't get their crews out there until PEPCO comes and does that initial, let's ground these wires and make sure there's no power. We are having a hard time speeding up that process for the neighbors, and they're sort of told, well, you don't let your contractor come, and it's like their contractors are ready to go to get these trees off their homes so that the insurance can come in and they can get that process going. Is there a way that we could maybe speed that up? It's not that many homes, so.
Sure. So thank you for raising that question, because we know that there is an urgency for residents to want to be able to have their private contractors come in to remove the trees. We do ask that you really work with our company. There's a lot of danger that can come into play when you have a private contractor removing a tree before confirming that our team has been out. We have grounded the wires. We know that it's been de-energized. And as you've heard throughout the whole conference, and the gentleman just spoke to it about, we've only had 2 individuals that have had safety issues. Safety is our top priority all the time. We know it's taking a little bit of time in regards to being able to work with those residents on their trees, but as we still continue with our restoration process, that has been our main focus. But I'll connect with you after the press conference to ensure, one, everyone has the right number to call to ensure that you are connecting with someone at PEPCO. But we really do stress to give us time to be able to work with you in regards to the tree removal. Thank you.
Okay, so remember, Mark.
Well, off topic?
Off topic, I'll take it 1 second. Remember, call 311 to report downed wires. I know PEPCO, Valencia, can you give the PEPCO contact number?
877 PEPCO 62. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
We now return to our previously scheduled program, already in progress.
All right, we're going to get started on off topic here now. All right, go ahead.
Thank you. Questions?
You have it on topic? Okay, so I'll just wait for her to call on you.
Off topic questions.
Mayor Bowser,
Yes.
as you know, the second report dropped from the MOLC, who stands by your side there. I'm just wondering, we've had your reaction. I'm really wondering about what's the next step, and if you can update us, or the MOLC can update us on the settlement talks, if any, with either or both of the two women who are represented by counsel.
Hi everyone. So next steps, the MOLC's role in this is now complete. We've had some informal conversations with the parties, and they'll be best to decide what's next, but it could possibly be settlement, but nothing in stone yet.
So could you expand on informal conversations? What does that mean? Is that around settlement or around
Well, we talk about what's going to happen next, possibilities, that kind of thing. I'd like to say that I think we have a pretty good relationship, so it'll continue.
And then can you tell us, as far as transparency continuing through this, what and when will the public be told about any type of settlements? Will the public be made aware if a settlement is reached, how much it is, details of that nature?
I think we're getting ahead of it. I understand the point of it. Sometimes settlements are confidential, and at this point we don't know. But I will do my best to keep you updated and posted. But usually this kind of stuff is not public.
So Mayor Bowser, if I could just follow up with you, because this is very reminiscent to me of a conversation I had with the two of you at the very first press conference when I asked about releasing the findings of the investigation. And then Mayor Bowser, your attorney was very, rigid in that they don't release stuff. You said that you probably would release something, and in fact you did. So I'm just wondering, what is your commitment, Mayor Bowser, to the public about transparency when it comes to a settlement with either or both of these women?
As Vanessa said, that's not where we are, Mark. And I know that I'll let Vanessa speak to where the MOLC is in wrapping up its investigation. I'm grateful to them for handling a thorough process. I'm grateful to our investigator who worked diligently to get these reports, the investigations conducted, and the reports released. We have issued the summary of findings in both cases, and that really completes the MOLC's part of the investigation.
Well, who conducts these negotiations? If there were settlement negotiations, is it not that office that conducts that? Or that else conducting that?
But we're not prepared to talk about a settlement.
Vanessa, does MOLC have any sense or understanding if anyone in the administration besides Mr. Falcecchio knew what he was doing with these women? Are you aware of anybody reporting his behavior or complaining about his behavior? Was there buzz in the office about his behavior, or did the mayor know about his behavior? Was anybody in the administration aware of anything that was going on with him? These are now two complainants. It goes back 3 years, and it's sort of an obvious question.
Yeah, thank you for actually clearing that up. I will tell you, throughout the investigation, every witness was asked, have you witnessed anything, or do you have any knowledge, or have you heard anything? I can say through, I think it was maybe 20-something or 30-something witnesses, we did not hear anyone say they knew of sexual harassment of the former deputy mayor to the complainants. Gossip is something else, and there's always a lot of gossip, but we do our work with facts, not gossip or opinions.
To the point about the scope of the investigation, in both instances, the sort of allegations of retaliation were deemed to be unsubstantiated. Essentially, not to characterize it, just simply you all couldn't, I guess, nail that down or sort of tie those two things together. I'm curious if I know the mayor has taken action to sort of begin the process to look at management practices, but as it relates to the scope of the investigation, would you say it was still thorough enough, given the fact that you sort of weren't able to substantiate some components of retaliation because it was outside the scope, or you just couldn't really tie that down?
Okay. So saying something is unsubstantiated is not saying or denying that it happened. At the time, and with all the evidence and the facts, it was not found. So, and then if we say it's outside the scope, it's outside the scope. Retaliation based on sexual harassment alleged in those complaints are part of the scope of the investigation and the mayor's order. Other things may have fallen out of, as we explained in the summaries. So because it was unsubstantiated just means we didn't have the evidence, the facts to substantiate it.
And then just to follow up, I believe, Mayor Bowser, you have until tomorrow to take action or sign or not sign the emergency legislation. Given the release of this second report, do you feel any differently about what council passed, and what is your plan as it relates to the emergency legislation to bring in an outside counsel to review the Mulks investigation?
I've said I don't have anything different to say about that.
It's been on your desk since the 18th. It has to be back to the council by tomorrow.
I have a stack of 30 bills on my desk, to be clear.
So do you, I appreciate that. Do you plan on signing it or letting it go into effect without your signature?
I'm going to be reviewing it when I go over my bills. Yeah.
Safeguards and reforms are what are being demanded by the attorneys for the two women. Immediate safeguards, immediate reforms. Are you going to announce any? Are there any in the works right now?
Yes.
Can you talk about those?
Well, I don't want to get ahead of it. We will, now that we have both reports, fully make recommendations or make changes likely to the mayor's order, which is a pretty wide sweeping order. We will also look to changes in the law, since I put that policy in effect back in 2017, to see what updates need to be made. So we will be sharing that when it's complete.
Didn't substantiate the claims of retaliation. It did say that they found some evidence that a senior staffer did treat the second woman in an inappropriate manner. And I'm wondering if that senior staffer has been disciplined, or if anybody has been disciplined in the DC government as a result of either of these two investigations.
Yes, the deputy mayor was resigned, and that's what I can report. As you know, I won't talk about other personnel moves. I just told you, Mark. I'm sorry?
I mean, without revealing any names, you can tell us if anyone at all has been disciplined. Yes or no?
Sure.
Thank you.
Hi, Mark. Regarding the senior staffer and the couple sentences about that, we did say, I think in the summary, that it didn't rise to an adverse action against that staffer. How people behave and deal with each other in the office, we all wish we could behave better. I'm sure my colleagues say that about me. But what occurred here didn't rise to any level of any kind of adverse action against that person.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vanessa.
That's all.